The ever-expanding universe of artificial intelligence, where models grow larger and datasets balloon into the stratosphere, a curious phenomenon has emerged. Large language models, LLMs, can learn to reason, not by understanding the content of their thoughts, but by mimicking the structure of those thoughts. A recent paper titled, LLMs Can Easily Learn to Reason from Demonstrations. Structure, not content, is what matters, delves into this peculiarity, revealing that the key to eliciting complex reasoning in LLMs lies not in the correctness or coherence of the reasoning steps themselves, but in the scaffolding that holds those steps together. The implications are both fascinating and unsettling. Machines can reason without really thinking. The long chain of thought. The paper begins by addressing a well-known challenge in AI: how to get LLMs to perform complex reasoning tasks. Traditional approaches rely on chain of thought, COT prompting, where models are encouraged to break down problems into intermediate steps before arriving at a final answer. However, these chains are often short and linear, limiting the model's ability to handle more intricate problems that require reflection, backtracking, and self-validation. Enter the long chain of thought, long COT, a more elaborate form of reasoning that involves multiple layers of analysis, revision, and verification. The authors demonstrate that LLMs can be trained to produce long chain of thought responses through supervised fine-tuning, SFT, and parameter-efficient low-rank adaptation, LORA. With just 17,000 long chain of thought training samples, the Qwen 2.532B Instruct model achieves significant improvements across a range of math and coding benchmarks, including a 40% boost on the AIME 2024 math competition and an 8.1% improvement on Live Code Bench, a coding benchmark. These results are competitive with proprietary models like OpenAI's O1 Preview, which suggests that long chain of thought reasoning can be distilled into LLMs with relatively little data and computational overhead. But here's the twist. The content of the reasoning steps, the actual numbers, calculations, and logical deductions, doesn't seem to matter much. What matters is the structure of the reasoning process. The model learns to mimic the form of long chain of thought, the back and forth, the self-corrections, the wait but moments, without necessarily understanding the substance of what it's doing. It's like a student who learns to write a convincing essay by memorizing the structure of an argument rather than grasping the underlying ideas. The content doesn't matter. To test this hypothesis, the authors conducted a series of experiments where they systematically perturbed the content and structure of the long chain of thought training samples. In one set of experiments, they corrupted the content by replacing numbers with random digits or removing reasoning keywords like alternatively and wait but. Surprisingly, these perturbations had little impact on the model's performance. Even when 50% of the numbers in the training samples were randomly changed, the model's accuracy on the AIME 2024 benchmark dropped by only 3.3%. Similarly, removing all reasoning keywords resulted in a mere 3.3% decrease in accuracy. This suggests that the model isn't relying on the specific content of the reasoning steps to solve problems. Instead, it's learning to generate responses that look like long chain of thought reasoning, complete with reflection and backtracking, without necessarily understanding the logical connections between the steps. The model is, in effect, a master of mimicry, capable of producing the appearance of deep reasoning without the substance. The structure is everything. In contrast, when the authors perturbed the structure of the long chain of thought by shuffling, deleting, or inserting reasoning steps, the model's performance dropped significantly. For example, when 67% of the reasoning steps in the training samples were shuffled, accuracy on the AIME 2024 benchmark fell by 13.3%. Similarly, deleting reasoning steps led to a steady decline in performance, with accuracy regressing to baseline levels when all steps were removed. These findings underscore the importance of logical consistency in the reasoning process. The model relies on the coherent structure of the long chain of thought to guide its responses, and any disruption to that structure, whether through shuffling, deletion, or insertion, severely impairs its ability to reason effectively. It's not enough for the model to produce individual reasoning steps that are correct or coherent. Those steps must be logically connected in a way that mirrors the structure of human reasoning. The illusion of understanding. What does this mean for our understanding of AI reasoning? On one level, it's a testament to the power of structure in shaping behavior. The model doesn't need to understand the content of its reasoning steps to perform well on complex tasks. It just needs to follow the right structural template. This is both impressive and disconcerting. Impressive because it shows how much can be achieved with relatively little data and computational resources. Disconcerting because it raises questions about what exactly the model is learning. Is the model truly reasoning, or is it simply going through the motions? The author's experiments suggest the latter. The model's ability to generate long chain-of-thought responses is largely a matter of pattern recognition and imitation, not genuine understanding. It's like a parrot that can mimic human speech without comprehending the meaning of the words it's saying. The model can produce responses that look like reasoning, but it doesn't actually reason in the way that humans do. This has important implications for the future of AI. If LLMs can achieve state-of-the-art performance on complex reasoning tasks by mimicking the structure of human thought, then we may need to rethink our assumptions about what it means for a machine to understand something. Perhaps understanding, in the human sense, isn't necessary for AI to perform well on a wide range of tasks. Perhaps all that's needed is the right structural framework. The efficiency of mimicry. One of the most striking findings of the paper is just how data-efficient and parameter-efficient this process is. With only 17,000 long chain-of-thought training samples, the Qwen 2.532b Instruct model was able to achieve performance competitive with much larger and more resource-intensive models. Moreover, the authors found that LoRa fine-tuning, a parameter-efficient method that updates fewer than 5% of the model's parameters, was sufficient to elicit strong reasoning capabilities. This efficiency is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it makes advanced reasoning capabilities more accessible, allowing smaller models to achieve impressive results with relatively little data and computational power. On the other hand, it raises concerns about the potential for misuse. If LLMs can be trained to mimic complex reasoning with such ease, then bad actors could potentially use these techniques to create models that appear to reason convincingly, even if they lack true understanding. The limits of mimicry. Despite the model's impressive performance, there are limits to what mimicry can achieve. The authors found that the model's ability to reason effectively depends heavily on the logical consistency of the long chain of thought structure. When that structure is disrupted, through shuffling, deletion, or insertion, the model's performance degrades significantly. This suggests that while the model can mimic the form of reasoning, it struggles to maintain logical coherence when the structure is compromised. This limitation is both a weakness and a strength. It's a weakness because it means that the model's reasoning capabilities are fragile, dependent on the integrity of the structural framework. But it's also a strength because it provides a kind of built-in safeguard against the misuse of these techniques. If the model's reasoning is so dependent on logical consistency, then it may be difficult to train models that can convincingly mimic reasoning in a way that is both coherent and deceptive. The future of AI reasoning. If structure, not content, is the key to eliciting complex reasoning in LLMs, then future research should focus on developing better structural frameworks for reasoning, rather than trying to imbue models with a deeper understanding of the content. This could lead to more efficient and effective training methods, as well as new approaches to reasoning that are tailored to the strengths and limitations of LLMs. At the same time, the paper raises important questions about the nature of reasoning itself. If LLMs can achieve state-of-the-art performance on complex reasoning tasks by mimicking the structure of human thought, then what does that say about human reasoning? Are we, too, just following structural templates without truly understanding the content of our thoughts? Or is there something fundamentally different about human reasoning that goes beyond mere structure? These are deep questions, and they don't have easy answers. But one thing is clear. The relationship between structure and content in AI reasoning is more complex and more fascinating than we might have imagined. Perhaps the key to unlocking true AI reasoning lies not in teaching machines to think like us, but in understanding the structural frameworks that make our own reasoning possible. Conclusion. In the end, the paper by Dacheng Li et al. Is a reminder that in the world of AI, appearances can be deceiving. A model that appears to reason like a human may, in fact, be doing nothing more than mimicking the structure of human thought. This is both a remarkable achievement and a cautionary tale. It shows how much can be achieved with relatively little data and computational power, but it also raises important questions about the nature of reasoning, understanding, and the limits of mimicry. As we continue to develop more advanced AI systems, we must grapple with these questions. What does it mean for a machine to reason? Is mimicry enough, or do we need something more? And if structure, not content, is what matters, then how can we ensure that the structures we build lead to genuine understanding rather than mere imitation? These are the challenges that lie ahead, and they will shape the future of AI, and perhaps our understanding of ourselves.